Today I'm going to show you how to set up WordPress for search engine optimization. WordPress is automatically set up for some basic SEO. So it'll have a default sitemap, which you can see here. I've got a demo site set up, but the sitemap is at wp-sitemap.xml, and it's going to have additional sitemaps for your posts, your pages, your categories, and your users. And by users, that means the authors. It's also going to automatically have a robots.txt file. If you don't know what the sitemap and the robots.txt file are, I am going to make videos for those. So come back and check in a couple weeks and you'll see the videos for those and you'll learn a little bit more about them. But just know that both of those are pretty important for setting up SEO for any website. So if you've got WordPress, you've got Squarespace, Wix, anything like that, you need both of those files on your website. Now, if you want to customize them, it's a little trickier. You need to actually install a plugin to do it. And the plugin will let you customize what's in the XML sitemap. And in some cases, the plugin will also let you modify the robots.txt file. Sometimes you need to do it manually, but I'll talk more about that in the video about robots.txt files. So I'm going to install a plugin. There are several plugins out there. I'm in my WordPress dashboard. So if I go to the plugins menu and then add new plugin, if I search for SEO, you can see that I get a whole bunch of plugins come up, and we can see there's Yoast SEO, Rank Math, All-in-One SEO, and SEO Press, and a few other ones. The one that I've been using for most of my sites recently is not the most popular one. That's the one that I was using for a long time, but I have been using SEO Press. It's really simple. It's not as widely used, but it's a good one. I like it. Pretty easy to use. So I'm going to install that one. And then once it's installed, I will need to activate it. So install and then activate. And I do want to mention that they have a pro version of it. Most of the WordPress SEO plugins are considered freemium plugins, which means there is a free version in the WordPress plugin repository, but they also have a pro or a paid version available. So if I click on Go Pro, which I'm not actually going to go Pro, I'm not going to buy it right now, but you can see there's a pro version. If I go to the pricing, you'll see there's SEO Press Free, SEO Press Pro, and the Pro is currently $49 a year. If I scroll down a bit, I can compare the features, and we can see here, you can do a lot of the stuff with the free version. You don't necessarily need to upgrade to the pro version. But if there are functions that you want that are in the pro version, so for example, let me expand this. So if, for example, you want to use artificial intelligence to automatically create your metadata and alt text, you might want to upgrade to pro. And we can see there are some other settings here. So you can get insights from Google Search Console directly to your post, your page, things like that. So there are some pretty good features in there. I will say one thing that you might want to upgrade for is the ability to configure your robots.txt file, because you can't do that in the free version. You can do it in the paid version, but you can see there are other settings here. But back to my WordPress dashboard. Once you install SEO Press, you are going to want to go through the configuration wizard. So I'll click on that and it's going to just go through it. I'm going to click on next step. The first thing it'll ask you is if you're moving from a previous plugin. So if you've already had Yoast or Rank Math or one of the other SEO plugins installed and you want to migrate from that to SEO Press, it gives you the option to do that. I'm not doing that. This is a fresh WordPress installation, so I will click on next step. Then it's going to ask you some information about your site. So the default things like the site title, and this is a placeholder. This is a variable that is going to pop the title of your site in. So that's actually a setting. If I go to my, let me go to my settings. So if I go to settings and then general, this is the site title. This is the tagline. Notice that there's nothing set there. There is one set there, but that's the site title. So that's going to be what goes in there. And then you can also add an alternative site title. It's not required. Specify if the website is for a person or an organization. So it's up to you, whichever one applies to you. I'm going to set this to organization. And then you're going to want to put either your name or your organization. So I'm going to say this is for Cuppa Crofton. If you have a logo, upload that. This is sometimes going to be used as the default thumbnail for social media. So it's good to put your logo or your picture or something like that. I don't have one right now, so I'm not going to do that. You can also add your organization's phone number, again, only for organizations. And then if you've got a VAT ID, you can add that. Click on Save and Continue. You can enter your social networks in here. You don't need to. Click on Save and Continue. And then the next couple of screens are going to be about disabling specific things. Kind of, to me, it's a little counterintuitive, but basically what you're going to do here is if you don't want your posts or your pages to show up in your sitemap, then you would turn these off. So if I go into my sitemap, you can see here right now my posts and my pages are indexed. I want them to be indexed, so I'm not going to check these because that would disable them. Now you can no index individual pages or posts within your site after you get SEO Press set up. So it's probably better if there are specific posts or pages that you don't want indexed. It's better to do it that way because this is actually going to make them not indexed by default for all posts or pages. So I'm going to just click on Save and Continue. And then the other thing is it automatically disables date archives, search archives, and author archives. So it's probably good to leave these up. A lot of times these don't really need to be indexed and they're going to result in issues with Google Search Console, which is a tool that you can set up for Google. I'll have a video about that in the future, but they're going to result in issues with that saying that you've got duplicate content. So I usually leave those disabled. So click on Save and Continue. And then you can see here, I usually disable categories and tags for the same reason. And they actually say here, they do not recommend indexing tags because again, they're going to be a source of duplicate content. So I usually I do disable those two. So click on Save and Continue. These settings are up to you. I usually will check this one that says remove category in your permalinks. What that's going to do, if I go to my post categories, right now I've got an uncategorized category. If I click on view for that, you can see that the URL says category/uncategorized. And what this setting will do is it'll remove that category from the permalink. So I am going to do that. I'll click on Save and Continue. They have a universal meta box that you can turn on, up to you if you want to. I'm going to turn it on and then click on Save and Continue. It is going to prompt you to upgrade to their Pro edition. They got to make money somehow, so they are going to prompt you to do that. You don't need to. You can click on Skip this step, and then it's going to say, congratulations. Now, once you do all that, it'll prompt you to configure your XML sitemaps. So I'm going to configure my XML sitemaps. This is going to take me into the WordPress dashboard. And we can see here that I've got a new SEO menu in here. And there's dashboard, titles and meta, XML, HTML sitemap, social networks, analytics, instant indexing, advanced, and tools. I'm not going to show you every single thing in here. There are some really great settings. If you want to get a more in-depth look at setting up SEO Press the way that I set it up, I do recommend signing up for my new SEO Success Club membership. You can go to websitesuccessacademy.com and go into the resources and you will see the SEO Success Club in there. But for now, we're going to take a look here in the sitemap settings. So under general here, I don't recommend turning this off because what that'll do is it'll make you use the default WordPress sitemap. So if we go through here under general, it'll show you what the URL is for your sitemap. And you will need that. So if you set up Google Search Console or some other tool that needs to know your sitemap, this is the URL for your sitemap. So if I click on that, this is what my sitemap looks like now. This is different from what the sitemap looked like before. So I'm going to change a few things here. The first thing I want to do is make sure that the XML sitemap is enabled. And I also want to enable an image sitemap. I'm not going to enable the author sitemap, and I'm also not going to enable an HTML sitemap. So I'm going to leave these at their defaults. The next thing we need to do is go to our post types. And you remember I already did not disable the indexing for the posts and pages. So I'm going to leave those as they are. I'm going to include them. You can also include media in your sitemap. They don't recommend it, so don't check that. Now, this is for our taxonomies. So if we go to taxonomies, right now, even though they're not set to be indexed, so the individual categories and taxonomies are not set to be indexed, I probably want to turn off the categories and tags here as well. So that way it's not going to create, so you can see right now, if I look And my sitemaps, I've got a category and tag sitemap. So even though there's nothing in there and I don't want my categories to be indexed, so the actual category sitemap is still set up. So I'm going to turn those off and click on Save Changes. What that does now, if I refresh the sitemap, we can see here, it took away the category and tag sitemap. So I just have post sitemap and page sitemap. That's all I really want. If I was to upload an image, I would have the image sitemap as well. Don't have any images right now, so it's not going to show anything. Now, the other thing that SEO Press does, if I go into a post or a page, so if I go to the sample page, for example, it's going to give me some additional boxes down here. Oh, right here. Sorry, that's where it is. This is the meta box that I was talking about. So if I click on that link there, then it's going to give me the ability to customize the title for this individual page. So this is going to show me what the default would be. If I don't want it to have like the title of my site, I can turn that off. So I can just say I want it to be sample page. And then it's also going to let me enter a meta description, which is really important for your SEO optimization, your search engine optimization. So very helpful there. If I go to overview, this is really nice. I can put in my target keyword or keywords. So let's say that I'm creating a new page about tea. Set that to my target keyword, refresh the analysis. It'll give me suggestions for improving the page. So you can see here, if I expand each of these, it says this should be improved. So if I expand each of these, it'll tell me what things I need to change. So none of my target keywords were found in heading 1 or heading 2 or heading 3. So there's lots of other stuff in here you can go through, lots of things you can check, but it's going to give you suggestions for optimizing your content based on the target keyword or keywords. Now I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to go back to social here. If you wanted to have a different title show up in Facebook versus what shows up in the search engines, you can do that. They've got some advanced settings. So if you don't want a page to be indexed, you can check this off. And then we've also got redirection. So I can enable redirection and then I can redirect to another page or post within the site. This is the basics of setting up your WordPress site for SEO. You don't have to use SEO Press if you don't want to. There are, again, other SEO plugins out there. You're welcome to use those, but I do recommend that you install one because then you can optimize the page overall. You can customize your sitemap, and you can also customize the SEO for individual pages. One thing that the free SEO Press does not do is let you customize your robots.txt file. The Pro one does that. If you absolutely need to use a free SEO plugin and you need to be able to customize your robots.txt, there are other SEO plugins that do allow you to do that. I think the free version of Yoast and Rank Math allow you to do that. So you can check those out. But anyway, make sure you do this, set it up, and check out the SEO Success Club at Website Success Academy if you're interested in expanding your SEO knowledge and getting into some more advanced features of this. But I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.